might not see the outcomes, we might see the clues, but when you plant a seed, it's gotta grow before it blooms. Oh.
Aloha, Sustainable Farmer Drew here. I'm gonna do a quick video for you, a succession of plants. I'm running out of time here in Minnesota, so there's a few that I want to show you that are native to this bioregion and I think are important. So I'm gonna turn this thing around and show you a few plants. I guess we'll walk along the edge here. I've seen a few that I had my eye on, so I came back just to make this video to show you, and hopefully you can learn them and how they're used and go ahead and use them. So let's get to it. Alright, so this first one here I'm going to show you. Try to get close. Kind of want you to examine the plant first. Take a look at the smaller leaves. And okay, so definitely the flower. We can get that zoomed in. There we go. So pay attention to those red spots inside there. See the tube. Look at the back of that flower. The leaves and the stem. A good example of how the stem changes. Hey, Mr. Bug. Alright. So, what we have here is called jewelweed. Its other common name is called spotted touch-me-not plant. And the Latin name is Impatiens capenensis, which in Latin, impatient means refers to the explosive action of the fruit when it's how it's dispersed when you touch the seed, hence its common name, touch me not. I'm trying to look for some seeds here. Anyhow, this is in the Balsamiaceae family. It's an annual, and it's found in shaded woods and the sides of paths and around the roadsides as well, but closer to more wetter areas. It grows to about 2 to 6 feet. Back up so you can kind of see that whole one there. The leaves are 1 to 3 inches long and up to 1.5 inches wide. They're hairless, generally oval to egg shaped, with a widely spaced teeth around the edges as well as the stems. The red spots, orange flower, tuber funnel shaped with a long narrow spur at the back, as you can see, that curls back under the tube. So you can kind of see that pretty well. Also, the stems, as I was trying to show you the stems before, why I wanted to point that out is that they're watery and they're green to translucent in color. So that's another indicator. There's another variety of these called the pale spot-me-not, which are yellow. They're much larger. Similar species, definitely noticeably larger, and the spur on the flower, that back part, is much smaller. So, and some of these don't have the red spots on them, and some do, but they should have. Like this one, for example, you can see how it's almost fully red. Very little spots. So it's native to eastern and midwestern US and Canada. The Native Americans used this jewelweed and its close relatives to treat and prevent rashes and anything related to the skin is now how it's used in modern herbalism. We use it for stinging nettle and poison ivy to relieve the itch. So it's good for the skin, itches, and mosquito bites and things like that. So jewelweed. Let's move on. Hopefully I won't spend too long. This is a type of a dogwood. Not sure. You could eat the berries, but not palatable really. Let's see what we find here. Maybe this seed will work. No, doesn't want to work. Touch me not. Well, you're letting me touch you today. I touched one earlier, and what happened was it exploded in my hand. There it goes. Dope. Okay, so I didn't get to capture that, but I just touched this and it unfolded before our eyes. This was that. Pretty crazy. Perhaps I can make it happen. Oh, I'll try to get it again when I see the plant. They're all over the place. So what else do I want to show you? This we're going to talk about in a second. You may identify it now. 𝐻𝐸𝐿. Do that. Keep it in your mind. 𝐻𝐸𝐿. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about these plants here. Hey, Mr. Frog. So what we're looking at is this long, erect herb. This here is called yellow or curly dock, Rumex crispus. It's in the Polygonaceae family. I'm not going to talk too much about this as I don't have too much time. It's an astringent. It's in the same family as the rhubarbs. It's eaten as a pot herb, and it's slightly bitter and mildly toxic effects. Has a laxative effect. It's good for maldigestion, low stomach acid. It's widely known and prescribed for diseases of the blood, great blood purifier and detoxifier of the liver, rich source of iron, and it contains rumicin, which is an active principle in the root, well, in the whole plant, but the root has a laxative, alternative, and mildly tonic action. So I suggest if you do come across this, to eat these younger ones. The older ones will of course be more bitter. The root you can get in there. It's very hard to pull out. You probably won't be able to do it by hand, but it's a nice tap root. Get that, and yeah. This is a nut sedge, highly prized, very expensive, sold in South America. Yellow nut sedge, they call it. So it's actually usable and edible. What else? There's one I really want to show you. It's these yellow plants. There's a good example way down here. So we're gonna walk. This is the wild grapes. Grape leaves edible, tendrils edible, berries when they're black edible. More dock. Wow, a lot of them. You can see them. Nice leaf. Alright, there's our willow. We talked about that yesterday, or in another video, whenever you get a chance to watch that. Alright, so this is what I want to show you. Starting to rain, so we're gonna wrap this up. Blam, there you are. Get the leaves. I'm gonna turn this around very slowly so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm looking at in a bigger picture. there's our jewelweed right there. We just talked about that. This here is a type of nettle. Not sure what kind it is, but it's a nettle, edible, nutritious, make a tea. And this right here is the #1 cause, or #2 cause of allergies in the world. This is the giant ragweed. Not because it's big, it's actually called the giant ragweed, common name. And incidentally, it blooms and blossoms the same time as this plant. So what is this plant? This plant is called goldenrod. It's in the Asteraceae family. It's a perennial. It's native to Europe and spread through Asia, North America, South America, and obviously here in the Pacific Northwest. The habitat it likes is like sun, dry fields, prairies, edges of woods, and roadsides. I see it all over. There are different varieties of this plant. They all are as is well, now I say that there are 130 species of this plant. That's what I was trying to think of. 130 species. And I'm going to turn this back around because I don't know how my video is going to turn out. So let's get more in depth with this. Blooms from July through October. So we're at the pretty much the where were we? What's today? September 1st. That's what today is. 2014. That's right. Historically, this plant is used on the skin to heal wounds. Also been used as a diuretic, which means it moves excess fluid out of the body. It flushes water from the body and increases urine output. However, it has been used to treat tuberculosis, large livers, gout, internal bleeding, diabetes, asthma, and arthritis, as well as cold and flus, eczema, and minor wounds. And how do you do that? You dry the plant, and you can make a tincture out of it and apply it. You can also make a tea and use it for those purposes as well. There's many ways. That's not the only ways. But this plant has been blamed, as I said, that's why I showed you the ragweed, has been blamed for seasonal allergies. But yeah, it gets confused with ragweed, but actually it doesn't make anyone allergic whatsoever. It's the ragweed's fault. So that's pretty much all I can think of about this plant. Another thing I just thought of, I don't remember, for the jewelweed. There's a study saying, that's what it is. There's a study saying that this here, jewelweed again, is only beneficial when it's directly applied. You take the flower like such, and since I'm getting bitten up here, you can crush it, actually crush it in your fans and apply it onto such things like this. You know, rub it in really well. Crush it more than this, I'm just showing you. And then whatever, you can leave it on there. What would be a great idea is to crush a whole bunch in a jar and make like a pasty out of it and then apply it. It's very almost watery, mucilaginous-y. Real quick, I'm seeing something. So there's a vine. Where is it? This vine right here. You can see me grabbing it. Where I saw it. There we are. Blam. This is a wild cucumber. As far as I know, not edible. However, it's used like a gourd or a loofah. More of a loofah. I didn't mean gourd. And that's all I know about it right now. So there's a whole lot more plants here I want to show you. You can kind of, I mean, there's like 20 in there that I could show you right now. However, due to time, I'm going to have to cut this short. Today we learned jewelweed. We learned goldenrod. Dock down there. Lots of docks. Came across a wild cucumber, some nettles, some giant ragweed. The good thing about ragweed? The good thing about ragweed is it removes toxic metals, heavy metals from the soil. And it is used for medicine in certain applications. So, something to consider. There's so many other plants here I can show you. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up from the Pacific Northwest, Minnesota. This is Sustainable Farmer Drew. Aloha. Please leave your comments, any questions you have, concerns, issues, problems, whatever it might be. I'd appreciate it. And until next time, mahalo, aloha again, and happy gardening.
We might not see the outcomes, we might see the clues, but when you plant a seed, it's gotta grow before it blooms. Oh.